If you're anything like me and you've been doing this for a while, I've been doing it for longer than that if I'm honest, then you'll have amassed an awful lot of drum samples, and one of your headaches when you open a track and start something new is you have real problems finding the right drum sample, or even knowing what samples you even have. This is where XO comes in. It's been on my radar for quite a while. I pulled the trigger because of Black Friday, and I'd like to give you a quick walk through it. Here's the primary GUI for XO. At the moment, it just looks like a dust cloud to you, but these colours all have meaning. Red is for kick drums. Blue is for snares. Orange is percussive elements. Yellow, closed hi-hats. Green is for open hi-hats. And pink cymbals. However, the filtering doesn't just go there, because as you can imagine, there's a lot of mix up here. So that's a percussive element, but next to it is what's considered a snare. So you can actually filter them. So you can go, I only want kicks to register. And you can see there's kicks in weird places here. That it considers kicks. And there's more to this visualization than that as well, because the one thing you'll notice is if I go over these top ones here, they've all got quite a bit of high frequency content in there. But if I go down here, it's all the really low frequency stuff. So what you can do is you can go, okay, I want a kick. That one. And then I'll just load it in. There we go, we've got a kick. And I'm just going to create a very, very basic pattern. Just a 4 on the floor. Easy as anything pattern. Just press play. Okay. Now if you're thinking, don't like that kick, but it's close to what I want, you can actually go through here. And go, okay, that kicks what I want. And then you go, okay, well, what I want now is, for the next one, I want a snare, right? And for that snare, I want it to be a very short snare. So you can filter by length. You can see they're all disappearing now. So if I want a super short snare, I can do that. And I can also go, right, well, actually, I want it to be quite a toppy snare. There we go. And I can go, there we go. Stick a basic pattern in as well. So you can see where the power kind of comes in really, because it means you can search through your library kind of effortlessly, which is great. And also just go through and go, okay, well that snare's close, but let's go into, let's have a quick look at what you can actually do to each sample. Okay, so you can actually edit the sample and go, okay, well I want this to be even shorter than that, and I want it to fade out. So it's like super, super short. I'll just flap it back to normal. Also, you can fade in, obviously, all that kind of stuff, that's fine. You can have it mono, you can reverse the phase, whatever you like. Panning, that's fairly obvious, panning. Pitch, very obvious. Tone, this is a tilt shelf. And these are low and high pass filters. This is how much velocity affects it. And these are interesting because basically this means you can have it in poly mode. So if I choose a longer snare, for example, so I'll go back into the space and choose a longer snare. So I've got, actually, I want a very long snare. Thank you very much. I want it to be over a second long. There's not many of them. that one. So if I make this do a super double triple there, you can hear that's going into poly mode. It's actually playing over the top. If we go like that, you can hear the start goes a little bit cut off. Or you can reverse it. And then you have this, which is choke groups, like you do with closed hi-hats, that kind of thing. It's pretty straightforward stuff. It ain't gonna blow your mind. It's got output buses, obviously. You can auto-route all the outputs to all different outputs. This bit is standard drum machine stuff. You know, there's basic effects like a reverb or a delay. You've got a master bus here, so you can turn the crunch on and go. Change it from transformer to different kind of things. That's fine. Stick a soft clipper on, have a cut frequency on it. At the end of the day, the actual drum machine part of it isn't that exciting. What's really exciting about it is the ability to do what you like with the samples. So for example, in here, we've got the bass drum and the snare drum. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stop this a second, and I'm going to stick some closed hi-hats in as well. So I'll just put a basic hi-hat pattern in, nothing surprising or amazing. There we go. Basic stuff. Just keep that. There we go. Now I'm just going to stick these in a choke group. There we go. They're in a choke group now. So if I go to the sample combiner, I can change all of these. And you might see they're all green at the minute, and that's because the filter's active. So if I take the filter out, there we go. Everything is now the colour of its appropriate drum. Now I can change these, and better than that, I can randomize. And if you don't like what you're saying, this one, you just go back to there. Or you can do and that's the great thing for auditioning samples. It's fantastic. Let's say that one. Now I thought I wasn't going to bother with the sequencer. If anyone knows my stuff, they'll know that I tend to have complex drum patterns and I tend to work in odd time signatures. But this was quite interesting for getting something basic down. So here's what's programmed, and here is what it's suggesting you can have instead. So for example, and I can do this. So you can actually end up with different patterns that are interesting. Not only that, but you can decide to put things into a swing. So let's just go here. It's on swing 16. Now you can hear now that's in a pretty severe swing. You can do some interesting stuff in there, like 7 tuplets, but it doesn't quite work the way I'd like it to work. So once you're done with this, what can you do? Well, you can export stuff. You can export either the individual samples. You can decide to actually render the WAVs. So if I press render WAVs now, what it's going to do is we've got the entire beat. We've got the processed samples. So, you know, with all the not very much you can do to the sounds on there. Or you can do the MIDI. Now that's the interesting thing as far as I'm concerned, because you can throw the MIDI in. And there you go. You've now got the MIDI coming from there rather than the sequencer. And I can prove that by editing the MIDI. Okay, where are we? So there you go. Now, there are limits to this thing. Limits that I wish weren't there, but are. It can only do 4/4. I have not found a way to do more than 4/4. It also only handles 8 sounds here. The main power thing for me, really, all comes down to this. The ability to find your samples. If you're anything like me, you have real problems finding them. The good thing is as well, is that if you've been doing this and you find something, go, oh, actually, that last one was what I wanted. You can go through the history and go back one. Or more. So if you have a ridiculous drum library, like me, you might find this to be a bit of a killer app. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Just thought I'd let you know.